Welcome to the Double Dribble Podcast with Dubin and Dakil. I'm Jared Dubin, and for those of you wondering why it's me doing the introduction and not Mo, it's because when we recorded the podcast earlier, the introduction got cut off, so you're not going to be able to hear the full thing. So I am doing this introduction over a blank screen on the video version, but for those of you listening on audio, you're going to get a abbreviated intro once we start the podcast in earnest, and we're going to do that right now.
Keel, former video coordinator for the Clippers, Spurs, Team Australia, do videos for Offside and do some stuff on NBA TV. And listen, if I truncated all of these intros, it's because we're already tired, right? Like we did our emergency podcast yesterday, and now we have to do another emergency podcast today, Jared. And, everybody rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hopefully my dog's not going to get sick again. Jared, I'm tired.
I'm tired too. I already had one espresso shot today, and I feel like I'm going to need at least another one after we do this podcast to make it through the games tonight. It's getting a little ridiculous with this volume of trades. So much for the quiet trade deadline while everybody waits on Giannis, by the way, right?
Another place where I was wrong again.
Me too.
Another area where I thought, okay, the Giannis thing is going to slow everything down. Everybody's going to wait for this. And it's like, no, we're just going to constantly keep moving the stuff around. Let's start with the original trade today that really kind of set everything in motion. Anthony Davis going to the Washington Wizards for, I don't have it up, actually. I should have.
I got it up.
I got it up. For it.
It is Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards, and Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Marvin Bagley III, Malachi Branham, a 2026 first-round pick from Oklahoma City, a 2030 protected first-round pick from Golden State that's protected 1-20, and 3 second-round picks to the Mavericks.
So, I want to start on the Maverick side of it because I think it's pretty easy to explain the Maverick side of this deal, right? The most obvious stuff is they get a couple of just draft picks that are going to be late draft picks. OKC's 30th. Like, we already know that's going to be the 30th pick in the draft. I think the other aspect of it was, to me, this was them getting off of the Luka Doncic trade. And everybody's making you traded Luka and this is all you got for him. Yeah, but this is get off of the trauma of the Doncic trade. Whether AD was playing or not, as long as he was a Mav, I feel like this trade would have been hovering all over Dallas at this point.
I feel like it's still going to hover all over Dallas at this point. When you look at the return that the Mavericks got for Luka, in the end, it's Max Christie. What was it? A 2029 Lakers first, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. I think that's what it was.
I'm gonna have to bring up the draft pick debt page while I talk here, but yeah, it's one Lakers first round pick, and then everything they got in this deal, which is 4 players who are not gonna do much of anything for them. Chris Middleton, I would assume, probably gets bought out, and then AJ Johnson, Marvin Bagley, Malachi Branham. Likely the 30th pick in the first round this year, and then a first round pick that is maybe a fake first. Is Golden State going to be outside the top 20 in 2030?
That's too far in advance. We don't know. There's so much we don't know about 2030. I just think for their side of it, even if it's a fake pick, I just don't think there was nothing of substance in this, but I think also there was no way you were going to get anything real back for AD. The big thing is I think they clear a whole bunch of cap space for this offseason. Am I wrong in that? Or is that?
I don't have their cap sheet up. I'd have to bring it up in front of me. Davis obviously makes a significant amount of money, and that comes off the books. So it does look like they do clear a bunch off their books, but I'm not sure what the rest of their books look like without having all of my cap sheets up in front of me, which I'm not going to bring up right now.
No. But like here's the thing. This is now Cooper Flagg's team. And I guess the real question is, this is my side of it and purely speculation. What do you do with Kyrie at this point? If you're turning this all over to Cooper, what do you, like Kyrie's definitely not. I don't see a reason for Kyrie to come back. I don't see a reason for the
No, they
Mavs to
don't.
push for.
They can't want him to come back
As I
this
say,
year.
or push for him to want to come back. And I just don't know next season. Like, what's this team? This is Cooper Flagg's team. You need to build around Cooper Flag at this point. I don't really feel like there's anything that kind of holds you to having Kyrie at this point.
I don't know that there's anything that holds you to it, but I also think it could benefit both Flag and the rest of the team to have him around, assuming he comes back actually healthy. Having a point guard out there, having a shooter like Kyrie out there is obviously really beneficial offensively. And it's not like Kyrie isn't experienced at playing off the ball away from, a wing creator type like Flag has proven himself to be throughout this year. So I don't know that you have to necessarily move off of him, but obviously you can do that now because you're really pivoting away from what was the short-lived, brilliant era of Kyrie and Anthony Davis that lasted all of like 3 quarters or whatever it was.
Yeah. So just kind of looking at the first off, I think like basketball wise, I understand why you, but also does he want to be there, right? Like, is this team really going to be contending at this point in his career? I was wrong about the cap space. Shout out to Yossi Goslan. I'm sorry, I know I butchered his name, but does a great job on X
Yes.
with the tax and everything like that. The Mavericks were deep in the tax and over the second apron for next season. They get under those thresholds, save $200 million in 2026, 2027. They won't have cap space, but they can use the newly created 20.8 and $6 million trade exceptions and the $15 million exception in the offseason. So I think like that's kind of the deal with that. For me, at the end of the day, this is a nothing burger on Dallas's side. I'm not fully like into anything where I'm like this changes stuff. This is just we're going Cooper Flag's way.
Having 2 first-round picks in this year's draft is not nothing, and potentially getting an extra first-round pick down the line from Golden State, if it's a late first-round pick that you get, is pretty nice. I just don't know that there was a lot more out there for AD than what they got here.
Yeah, I think there's just you just know you weren't going to get you weren't going to get comparable value to what you gave up to AD for AD. I think this is hey, we know we're going to take a loss here. We're just going
You
to take
think?
a loss. Yeah, right. The other side of this is the Washington Wizards, who I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I said as much online, and then somebody threw, oh, they're getting good players. I don't know. And sure, on paper, when you look at, they got Trae Young, and then now they have AD, and they didn't have to give up so much for them and all that stuff. I don't know what's the purpose of this team. Like, I'm a little bit disappointed. They were building something where it felt like they kind of had like, hey, we're not going to rush this. We're going to start kind of tear this thing down to the studs, which they've done, and then slowly kind of build some stuff. They got some young guys I really like, everything they have. But now you pull, like the Trae Young move, I was like, all right, that's fine. It's not like then you go out and do this with AD, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Do you get it?
I halfway get it. Like, in the grand scheme of things, they didn't really give up anything of significance to get Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Like, they turned Bradley Beal's no trade clause and Kyle Kuzma into Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and a bunch of pick swaps in the end, which from an asset management standpoint is pretty good. I just don't know to what end they're getting Trae and Anthony Davis. Like, it seems like they think they're ready to compete next year, which on a certain level makes sense that they would think they can at least be competitive, not to compete for anything real, but at least be a competitive basketball team that's trying to win games next year, given the progression of guys like Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, the promise that guys like Trey Johnson and Bub Carrington have shown. Like, I think it makes sense on that level that they would think that they're ready to try to actually win games next year. I just don't know that a Trey Young, Anthony Davis pairing is like going to actually win you games in 2026. Like, are they going to be on the court? Is Trey Young the kind of offensive engine that he showed he was earlier in his career, where he's going to give you like a top 10 offense just by virtue of him being on the floor? Is Anthony Davis going to be out there? Is he a good fit next to Alex Sarr in the front court? What are you going to do with those guys? Who's spacing the floor? You're going to have rim protection, but who's spacing the floor in the front court? Is shunting guys like Sarr and George and Johnson and Carrington and whoever they draft with this first round pick that they're going to have in June, which they're obviously going to have because they're just not going to play Trey Young or Anthony Davis the rest of the year. They're going to make sure that they're not going to give away their pick to the Knicks, which is top 8 protected. So they are going to have the 1st to 8th pick in the draft. Hopefully they get one of the top few picks and they can land one of these guys that's really one of the top prospects. But even if you do get one of those guys, it seems like you're shunting all of them into complementary roles because Trey and Anthony Davis are going to take so much of the offensive responsibility. I just don't know what you're getting out of this pairing other than a vague notion of we're going to try to be more competitive next year. Like, I understand them getting ahead of free agency and using their cap space in pre-agency because nobody hits the open market anyway, and they probably weren't going to be able to sign good players this offseason with all of their cap space, which is now gone because they used it on Trey and AD. But I'm not sure these are the two guys that I would have targeted, even if they did get them for relatively low cost.
I understand the cost aspect of it, but like I don't understand rushing your timeline. Like I just don't. And you know, it's
Is it
look,
is it really rushing their timeline though? It's not like they gate like if they had given up a bunch of assets to get these guys,
but
I
no,
would have
but
considered that rushing
no.
their timeline.
I'll tell you what it is though. It's going to stunt the growth of their young guys. You know, the more you think about it, like Alex Sarr has had a really good season,
Yeah.
right? And you want him to continue to develop having a really good season. Okay, like that's important in that you want him to continue to be the player that he is. I don't understand the concept of like, cool, we're going to bring in AD now because AD is going to take away opportunities from Sarr in this instance. I don't feel like that's something there's an opportunity cost in that, and that almost one you're doing that because you think you're going to be able to win some games now. One like that should have been your plan for 2026-2027 season, the 26-27 season. Honestly, it should have been just continue upward trajectory again. We got it. Let's build on what we did last season. Maybe we win some games. Maybe we kind of compete for a play-in, and then let's find the right pieces that go with it. Again, I wasn't like the young trade's fine, but I wasn't blown away by it. And you can see the same thing about that. You're taking the ball out of other guys' hands, and now you're going to put it in Trey Young. When you bring AD in, now you need to go win. And that's also assuming these guys are on the floor, particularly AD.
Mm-hmm.
And I sure, but to me, it's not the same as Utah not giving up a lot and getting Jaren Jackson Jr., right? Like, they got a guy that plays.
And he's
The
like
Wizards
25 years
didn't.
old.
Yeah, and the Wizards didn't. And they're going to be talking extension now.
You would think. I mean, I don't know that I would want to be extending either Trey or AD beyond the current deals that they're on.
No, but like that's going to be kind of the expectation, right? And it's so
Especially with AD, because why are you giving up any first round draft picks in a deal if you don't plan on keeping him beyond the next year or two that he's under contract? Because he's eligible for an extension this summer.
I want to throw another wrinkle at you. Is there a possibility AD gets rerouted? He can't be happy getting traded to Washington.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be happy, but also, would the Wizards really be giving up a bunch of stuff if they were planning on rerouting him?
I don't feel like they gave him. No. I don't think they want to reroute him. They made the trade first to get him. Like, I don't think that's their aim. It's him being upset in this instance. Does that kind of change the thing? I also wouldn't say they gave up a ton of stuff. Like, look, dude, like it's a good draft. The 30th pick isn't like something I'm gonna go ape shit about in terms of like that's such an amazing guy. It's the future Golden State pick, okay, but it's 1 through 20 protected. So a 66% chance it doesn't convey. Like I don't look at this as like they didn't give up a lot. But again, I just don't understand it from their side where I'm like, you should have been just focusing on developing your if this was I would have felt totally different if it was Jaren Jackson Jr., right? Like
Yeah,
I'd have been like and again, it's like you said, younger, on a long term deal, all that stuff. I would still be worried about the
better fit
development
with
of Sar,
Alex Sarr.
but still would be worried about it a little bit with Sar. But like, this is going
I
to be
mean,
a problem.
you would
Like,
at least get some shooting. You still get the interior defense. He's younger. He's under contract over the long term already.
but like, I just don't understand. Like, I just don't get it from Washington's side of like, why like just other than like we want to win games. Cool. You're not even going to win a lot of games. I don't even know if these guys are going to play a lot.
And even if they do, are you really going to win a lot of games?
I mean, that's why I'm just like, I do not understand this trade for me. Like,
Yeah,
this is the
they
one.
got good players for not that much is really what it comes down to, but I don't know to what end. Like, what is the end goal here with the two of these guys and all of the young guys that they have around them?
But it's like, it also just like doesn't look at fit, doesn't look at how this will affect our young guys. Like, this is a smart front office, but like, I am perplexed. And it was like, cool, great opportunity to get a guy that we probably won't be able to sign. Except now I don't know what's going to happen with contract negotiations and extending him. You have Trae Young. Like, what are you going to do in this situation? Like, I just don't like it. Like, sure, you got the better players in the deal, but I just don't think, like you said, to what end? Like, I just don't like this. Like, this is a trade to me. If I'm Washington, I'm like, we don't need to do this one.
I'm with you. Like, I don't know that they needed to do it. I don't know what it accomplishes in the grand scheme of things, other than being able to say, we got Anthony Davis and didn't give up that much in the same way that you got Trae Young and didn't give up that much. But again, if those are the two guys that you're pairing, how many games are you really winning in the 2026-2027 season, or even beyond that when AD is getting into his mid 30s?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm flabbergasted. That's all I really have on that side of it. I just don't know what else. Like, I remember reading it and going like, huh. Like, it was just like, okay.
Yeah, I think I said my reaction was like, okay. Like,
Yeah. Nothing moved me so much in that sense. Um, Anything else on this trade, or do you want to move on?
no, let's move on to you want to go to the Jared McCain deal or the Hornets Bulls Thunder deal?
Let's do the Jared McCain deal because I give Thunder credit, like trying to like pull one. Obviously, they don't know what's coming down the pipeline, but I like that it was like announced right after the AD one, so nobody had enough time to properly react.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was
So
pretty.
it's
It was like it was sneaky. Like, we're gonna sneak this by you.
yeah, the Thunder are getting Jared McCain and the Sixers are getting a 2026 first round pick courtesy of Houston and 3 second round picks is the first deal here. It's connected to another deal that is happening because the only reason the Thunder are able to get Jared McCain is because in a separate deal that we'll talk about a little bit more in a little bit, they traded Usman Jang out for Mason Plumlee and are waiving Plumlee.
Right. So I like this for both sides. For the Thunder, I like just adding more scoring pop for them. I think their offense does have a tendency to kind of stall out, and this is just another dude that can get up and down, add a little bit of scoring pop, a little run here for you offensively. Like I kind of like that for them. Defensively, obviously, they got enough defense. I'm not going to worry about when he's on the floor in that sense. But like, I don't know how much he'll play because they are still a very deep team. But like, it's just a smart move from them I like it from the Thunder side.
I like it from the Thunder side too. First of all, if you look at what he did last year, the shooting off the dribble was the biggest thing that he brought to the table. And that's the one thing that the Thunder don't have in their offense other than from Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And they don't have a ton of it from beyond the three-point line anyway. If he can sort of rediscover what he was doing last year, that would be a big benefit to them offensively. It's also seemingly not just a this year deal. Like they're gonna lose one of like Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace at some point. I would assume it's either Caruso or Dort, and then Wallace will move into the starting lineup. Um, so they're gonna need another guard, and having McCain for 3 more years at a low cost, I think, is a nice little bit of business for them. But the potential of having another guy who can create off the dribble and specifically shoot off the dribble in pick and roll situations, I think, is the big thing for them. And we talked about it yesterday. They had 13 first round picks in the next 7 drafts. Giving up one of them, that's going to be a late first round pick this year, plus 3 seconds that they obviously don't need because they have so many draft picks and such a deep roster to begin with. I feel like they did it at a relatively low cost.
Yeah. So for me, it's a slam dunk. And for the Sixers side of it, I think it was great. They got a first round pick out of it and a couple of seconds for a guy that was there was just no place for them in the rotation. He's good, and I know the Sixers like him, but where is he going to play in a backcourt where it's Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes? You have Dominic Barlow kind of flying up the charts for them. And then now this allows him to convert his two-way contract into a regular NBA contract. Like, I just thought it was good business on both ends.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Sixers like McCain, but clearly not that much. Like they took him with the 16th pick last year, and now they're trading him for a first round pick that's going to be much later in the round and 3 seconds. And, that's after like half of the sample size that he's played being awesome and half of it being pretty meh. But obviously, he was coming back from an injury this year. The shooting had been ticking up a little bit lately, but there just wasn't a sizable role available for him. And like you said, they do want to convert Barlow to a standard contract, and he's more important, I guess, for them at this point because they need more in the front court than they do in the back court. But it does seem odd to be selling McCain at this price just a year after he looked like he was going to be the rookie of the year because of all of the things we're talking about that he's going to bring to the Thunder.
Yeah. So I think that's a good one. That's an easy one. An easy trade to kind of dissect into all of that. I don't know if I have much more to it to add. Do you have anything?
No, I would say if this is the Sixers just doing salary dumping so that they can re-sign Grimes, that's annoying. They could have re-signed Grimes anyway.
No, I don't think it's I don't think it has to do with that. I just think they didn't have a place for the guy. He was getting sent to the G League. This was let us get an asset for him while we can right now. I don't think it had too much with them with the whole Grimes signing of it. But let's go to the other trade because I like this one better.
All right, so the other trade is the Hornets get Coby White and Mike Conley. The Thunder get Mason Plumlee, and the Bulls get Colin Sexton, Ousmane Dieng, and 3 second-round picks.
I love Charlotte. Hey, we're going for the 10th seed. We're going for the play-in. Right? And I think Sexton was good for them. I think Coby White's better. I like where they're kind of standing at right now. Even if they don't sign Coby White, again, Colin Sexton was the free agent. I don't feel like it was that big of even if it just turns out to be a rental, I don't think it's a big blow in that regard. I really like it for them. I was excited for it because they've been the most exciting team to watch in the East Coast right now. They're a lot of fun with their trio of guards and things like that. Now you add Coby White to the mix. I just love the way they've kind of positioned themselves.
Yeah, I like White off the bench for them too as a better fit than Sexton. The off the dribble shooting hasn't been as good this year as it was, as it was last year, but he was also another guy who was coming off injury at the start of the season. So hopefully that ticks up for them, but he can play on the ball, he can play off the ball, he can play with any or all of LaMelo Ball and Concanipple and Brandon Miller. You can use those guys in any number of different combinations, and you can put the ball in any of their hands and have any of them play away from the ball because they're all pretty good shooters. I mean, Ball's not a great shooter, but that's because he takes some ridiculous shots. But
That's by choice. That's by choice on his end.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I like it. I like them going for it and being like, you know what, we're going to be a little bit more competitive. We're going to try to get into the play-in tournament. How many games back are they right now?
I think they're about 3. Give me a second. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now. They are one game back of the Bulls, so they're
Oh,
going to pass
jeez.
the Bulls.
Yeah, they're gonna make the play in, and to be honest, they have a legitimate chance to really kind of catch the Hawks.
They're
Right,
only three games behind the Magic.
and don't get me started on that team. But like I honestly I like the way they've kind of set themselves up. Smart moves in general, and the way it's kind of panned out for them. Let's just talk about the Bulls side of this real quick. How many more guards can they get?
God only knows. How many more of their guys can they sell low on, by the way? Like I saw this from Steph No, and he said 4 years ago the Bulls were in first place in the East. Arturas Karnisovas traded away the entire top six of that roster, all of them too late. The only first round pick he received was the team's own in 2025 in exchange for DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, Nikola Vucevic, Alex Caruso, and Coby White.
Yeah, that was very bad business in the run up of the trades that he's made. I'll say this. He has doubled the number of second round picks they have now. They've gone from 5 to 10. And I see you rolling your eyes and everything with that. But
The thing about second round picks is they're just things that you can throw into other trades for the most part. Like
right,
generally, you're not getting anything out of them.
but it helps though. It helps to have those. I think in that instance, and
As
I
we
think
can
look,
see from this trade, because the 3 second round picks grease the wheels. But also getting on, like if they had sold Coby White last year, they're getting a first round pick instead of 3 seconds.
yeah, there's no question that organization has historically sold low on all their guys. Like, there's no, same thing's going to happen if they trade to Sumu. Like, that's going to be a low sell in that stuff because they've held on too long. This is a normal thing for a lot of front offices in general. But like, this is like the Bulls, specialty as of late. I think the bigger thing though for me, just with Chicago, is at least they're trying to make smart moves. Right? Like they're not going to lose Coby White for nothing, right? Like at least they're trying to make relatively smart moves in the process of what they're doing. Like I'm not, Dang's not going to make a difference. It's all about the second round picks for them and what they're getting. But they're at least loading up the asset stuff, which is like, got to remember, they traded Caruso and didn't get a pick. And there was an opportunity at that trade deadline before they traded him in the offseason to get a first round draft pick for him. Like
More than one. More than one. There were reports that they had multiple first round picks on the table.
So like you have those things, but it's like I don't know. They're learning, I should say. They've gotten a little bit better in their process of handling things.
They're like halfway learning because they're actually selling the guys, but they're still not getting as much as they should, and they're doing it too late. I will say I did appreciate them butting their way into a 3-team deal, the DeAndre Hunter, Keon Ellis, Kings, Cavs deal, and actually getting assets out of it rather than being the third team in the deal and giving up assets in the trade. They got 2 second-round picks out of that one, so good for them. Finally,
Yeah, they're learning. They're learning, Jared. Baby steps, man. Baby steps for them with where they're at. Not much else there.
I guess we could talk about the other deal that they made. They traded
Yeah.
Nikola Vucevic for Anthony Simons in a second-round
We
pick.
didn't talk about that yesterday?
No, it happened like right after we finished recording.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
I wonder what trade will happen right after we're done. Got a very good second round pick in that one. Getting the 32nd pick is the equivalent of getting the 30th pick, Dallas. But I think I like it for them, again, getting a draft pick for a guy that they held on too long, but I also don't feel like the offers were ever really going to be there for him. How do you view his Vucevic's fit with the Celtics?
I think that they very badly needed a center, any center, and he fits in terms of being able to shoot and space the floor for their guys. And he's going to rebound the hell out of the ball, which they obviously need help with, particularly on the defensive end. They're a good offensive rebounding team, not the best defensive rebounding team. So help them out there. Defensively, it's not a fit, obviously, but at least he will help them end possessions.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm. I like it, but I'm not like blown away by it. Like, I have a
The
friend of
big
mine
thing for
who's
them in that deal is they save a bunch of money because
yeah,
they were deep into the tax, and it saves them around $6.5 million in salary, and that's exponential because of the way that the aprons work.
yeah. It was like it saves them close to like 100 million or something, but it also they're completely out of the apron. It opens up the opportunity to play in the buyout market, which is a big. Yeah, I know the buyout market is kind of overrated, but like there might be some interesting names available in the buyout market. I liked it though for them. I felt like as a good deal. I wasn't blown away, but again, when you look at what's possibly available as center, I think that's the move. That you get what you can.
That makes sense. I think Chicago also, like, because the Bulls have 6 million guards, like maybe they could spin Simons off again and get something for him.
They're trying. They are trying. They are trying to. Him and Sexton, I've heard, they're still trying to kind of keep the ball moving in terms of the draft picks flying around. Um, what what other trades do we need to discuss?
So this one that just came down where the Cavs traded Lonzo Ball and 2 second round picks to the Jazz. And the Jazz, I believe, are getting cash, and the Hawks are getting Jock Landale.
Yep. I mean, money situation for the Cavs again, getting off contracts right now in this situation. Understand that Lonzo, it sounds like, is going to be bought out and not going to be playing at Utah. So we'll see
Mhm.
where he ends up in terms of the buyout market. I think that's an interesting name you can have in terms of the fun you can get in the buyout market. But yeah, man, kind of like a lot of trades, but at the same time too, I'm kind of just like, all right, can we just get the big
Yeah,
ones done now?
this one is more about the Cavs trying to get under the aprons so they can actually aggregate salaries in trades. Like they're now, I think, like 4 million or so away from getting under the second apron. And if they can do that, they can aggregate salaries and trades, and who knows what they might be able to do once that happens.
Yeah, it's be interesting. I don't have much else, man. I'm, part of it is I'm tired. They've broken me, Jared, with the trades and everything. Um,
It's too many
it's
trades. We do have
it's
one more if you want to talk about the Chris Paul to the Raptors, Ochai Abaji, a second round pick, and cash to the Nets, and the rights to Vanya Marinkovic to the Clippers, where this is basically the Clippers and Raptors are saving money, and the Clippers are opening roster spots to convert Jordan Miller and Kobe Sanders to second round picks. The Nets get Abaji and a second round pick to facilitate the deal, and then CP3 is going to get waived. And in theory, he could join a contender, even though he looked like turbo washed to start the season and got sent home for being a nuisance.
yeah. I think that kind of describes it perfectly. It's these money trades are hard to talk about, right? Because it doesn't like unless Toronto's turning around and going to trade Jakob Pertl and RJ Barrett and for Sabonis or whatever. Like I don't feel like there's much coming. There's
Yeah,
just more
and
of a
there was a
cost saving move.
report from, I think it was from Sam Amick, that the Raptors Sabonis talks have kind of cooled. Um, Maybe they pivot and they can send Jakob Pertl to Memphis and get John Morant.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, that's kind of like the names that we're kind of waiting to see get traded next, right? Like is Ja, we're all on pins and needles. Are they going to trade Giannis? Won't they? Will they not trade Giannis? I think the answer is going to be they're not going to trade Giannis. But um,
Although, like now, it looks like both the Wolves and the Cavs seem like they're trying to position themselves to maybe try to do it at the deadline rather than over the summer.
well, yeah, but like if you're the Wolves, like you don't have draft picks that make it interesting. I don't know the Cavs sort of draft pick covered
Well, the
in
Cavs
that.
have Evan Mobley.
It's pretty nice. He is pretty good. Are we gonna have the situation? I saw Tom Haberstroh write this, and no offense to Tom, I did just kind of roll my eyes to it. But are they really gonna have James Harden, LeBron gonna sign the minimum for his farewell tour, and they're gonna trade for Giannis? Like, is that really gonna happen? And am I gonna have to come on a podcast and then apologize to Tom again?
Maybe. At this point, you can't put in this league, anything is possible, man. It's just anything and everything is happening at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of absurd, dude. Um, yeah, like shit. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else right now? Has anything dropped in the last 2 minutes that we haven't?
Nothing has dropped in the last 2 minutes. I'm hoping that nothing drops while I'm uploading this podcast, but exciting last couple of days. And or I guess we didn't talk about the Harden Garland deal actually being completed.
But we talked about it, I think, at nauseum
Yeah,
yesterday,
we talked
right?
about
Like,
it like as a theory. I don't know if you have anything more to say about it.
well, it's funny. I just think it makes more sense to me for the Clippers than for the Raptors. I mean, the Cavs. I don't feel like, and I'm holding Harden's playoff success or lack thereof
Mhm.
against him, but I just don't feel like that's something that's. I wouldn't have made that move. If I was going to trade Darius Garland, I would have tried to find somebody else other than James Harden to help me with my playoff woes. I wouldn't pick up the guy who's the picture of playoff woes. Like that's like, I think that's kind of the way I looked at it and for the Clipper side of it, eats into their cap space. Everybody talks about it all the time, but I'm like, they weren't probably going to sign anybody better than Garland, and they still have a slot for a max if they really want to in 2027. And I don't see if they can get him healthy is the biggest question. Can they keep him healthy? If they do, this is a great play for them. They're gotten younger just right off the bat, and I think this is a guy that can really help them. But we'll have to see if he can get healthy and get on the court.
Yeah, if he's healthy, I love it. But obviously, he's had a significant amount of trouble staying healthy over the last few years, and it's a clear signal of no faith from the Cavs in either him staying healthy or being able to recapture the form that he had when he was healthy, when he was a two-time All-Star, I believe. I sort of talked myself into it from the Cavs perspective when I was writing about it this morning, just because, like, from an encore perspective, Harden is straight up better than Garland at this point. And from an asset management perspective, I'm not sure that you were necessarily getting more than Harden if you traded Garland at this point. But then you run into, if you're trying to get through a playoff wall, is James Harden really the guy to get you through the playoff wall? And I think the answer to that is probably a definitive no.
Yeah, it's a hard no, and it's not like yes, he's a better player than Garland, but I don't feel like the team is significantly better. I also think this is a hard change to make mid-season. Like I know Donovan Mitchell's used to not having the ball in his hands and sharing it with Garland. It's different now with Harden, right? Like I think it becomes a lot more difficult in that sense. And everybody's like, "Oh, but Mitchell needed help off of the, take some of the pressure off Mitchell." Yeah, sure. He had that with Mobley, by the way. They don't really use him. Mobley's not going to get as many touches, I would feel, in that sense. And I feel like that's really, when we look at the Cavs this year compared to last year, besides Garland, the lack of facilitating from Mobley this season is a massive, like, problem for me.
Mhm.
He's
Go ahead.
Well, there was just a lot of like grab and go in transition, facilitate the offense, start the offense and get us going, operate at the elbow, get this. Like they had a lot of stuff for him. You don't see any of that now.
No, I do think that he will get. He may not get as many touches, but I do think he will get better touches playing with James Harden. Like Harden supercharges the opportunities for every big man that he plays with. We've seen that throughout his career. He's going to get both Mobley and Jared Allen better quality touches than they've gotten throughout their careers, I think.
More for Allen, I think, than for Mobley. If I'm just because the rim rolling and that aspect and the way Harden likes to play and throw the lob up and things like that. Mobley will operate a little bit more out of the short roll in that situation, but it's not like I don't feel it's the same in that sense. And I would just I'm just not in love with it. And I also know the way this goes. Harden looks very good in his honeymoon. And when they give him a 2-year, $80 million contract in the offseason when he opts out of his current deal, like, that's scary there. The dude's 36. I know he's a tank. He plays, which is one of the best.
Every night, more than you can say for Darius Garland.
And which is an absolute asset. But, like, at the same time, I don't feel like they got much better. And then the other aspect of it, too, for me, for the Cavs, where I look at it, going like, your biggest problem throughout the whole of the playoffs has been you guys are not tough enough. Mm-hmm. You didn't get tougher. Yeah, he plays and things like that, and he's more physical. But you didn't get tougher. You're that's still going to hang on with you until you prove otherwise. It's not like you made it. It's not like you went and got a dude like a Jimmy Butler, not Jimmy Butler, but like a Jimmy Butler or something like that, where there's a little bit more toughness behind them. You don't have that. And I think that's also a mark that they just didn't address.
Yeah, I think that the way for them to address that is to make changes in the front court. Like, that's where they really need the additional toughness and where they've been dominated a couple of times in their various playoff runs. And they've needed to hit the glass more and to just be generally tougher in the front court, like you said.
Yeah. So I think that's just kind of where we're at. And I don't think we're going to be back with another emergency podcast, but the way things are going, maybe. I mean, it kind of depends where Ja ends up. And if Giannis
depends
gets
what
traded,
happens tomorrow. Like, I don't know that we're going to record tomorrow necessarily, but maybe on Friday. Depending on what happens tomorrow.
This is just insane, Jared. Insane. I need a nap, but I'm afraid to.
I need more espresso shots. I already took one, and I'm going to have to take another to get through these games tonight.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening to the Double Dribble podcast. And make sure you rate, review, subscribe. Jared, take us home.
See y'all.